to understand the story of the 9 planets, I want to go back to what happened before they were born. So, there are two types of Srishti or creation. Sankalpa and Sparsha. So, the two types of creations are Sankalpa and Sparsha. Sankalpa meaning the creator or so the creator, for example Vishnu or Brahma, they they just needed to meditate, and the person or the thing would get manifested. Now here the creation was through physical contact, which is very common among us humans. So these are the two types of creation. Now from Vishnu came Brahma, and that was through Sankalpa Srishti. This is what Narada Purana says. Navagraha Purana says. Now, this was the origin of Brahma, or whatever the. There are many different stories to the origin whenever it comes to Brahma, Vishnu, or any of the cosmic gods. So we don't need the exact story. We just need to understand the gist of creation and how the different traits were born among the planets, and the origin of Devas and Asuras. So Brahma was born. So after Brahma was born, Brahma's main duty was creation. So the way he created was Sankalpa Srishti, that is by meditating. So three key people which we need to know to understand the planets were born from Brahma, and they are called Manas Putras. Okay, once Narada was born, and during a different meditation time, Daksha was born, and this is the main one, that is 9 Manas Putras. Manas Putras. So, if you know Hindu mythology even a little bit, Narada is a key person in Hindu mythology. And Daksha, also known as Daksha Prajapati later on, was also born from Brahma. And finally, the nine Manas Putras, who are from whom all the 9 planets are originated as children or grandchildren. Here, Daksha is important because Daksha had many children. Instead of having one child at a time like we humans do, he had many children, like 65, 20, or 27 children at a time. And this 27 children, they were no, instead, here, let's say these 20 children who were born from, who were the children of Daksha Prajapati, they were married off to Manas Putras. 20 kids, 20 children or 12 children at a time were married off to each Manas Putras. Here, these 27 children who were all women, so 27 sisters, are very important for us, especially in astrology, because they were also known as, they will be called as nakshatras. Later on, we'll understand the nakshatras later. I want to keep astrology simple, so after we get into the chart explanations, I'll explain the nakshatras. So, nakshatra is important for astrology and for the explanation of moon. And Narada was a neutral person, neutral messenger, who was a key person in most of the relationships formed in Manasputras among Manasputras and their children or the planets. So this is a small basic uh, backstory of how where the 9 planets came from. I will get into the Manasputras. So Manasputras were sattvic beings. So there are 3 gunas: sattvic, rajas, and tamas. Sattvic people were very sweet and soft natured in general, and they rarely harbored any hatred or any strong emotions of negativity. Rajas people, you could say, had uh, strong hatred or some small amounts of hatred, just verbally. They wouldn't take any harsh actions. But Thomas people were born with strong emotions. It may be love or it may be hatred. Both were excess in general. So these are the 3 traits. Here, Manasputras were born only with sattvic traits, but they were married off to Daksha Prajapati's daughters. They were married off to Daksha Prajapati's daughters, and these daughters had the traits of Sattvic, Rajas, and Tamas too. So, some Manasputras who were married off to Rajas and married off to women who had Rajas and Tamas uh, had children of traits, Rajasic traits or Tamasic traits too, while they had Sattvic traits too. And sometimes the wives who had tamasic traits uh, wished for a child who had tamasic traits too. I'll explain that later when I explain the planets. These Manasputras were rishis or sage. Among them was one of the Manasputra was Kashyapa Rishi, and he had wives, and among the wives were Diti and Aditi. So the children born to Diti were born with tamas traits. And the children born to Aditi were born with sattvic traits. And they end up becoming devas, and the people with sattvic traits become devas, and tamas traits become asuras. Here, even other rishis had children born with sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic traits, but a lot of major asuras and major devas were born from Diti and Aditi. So now I'll explain the nine planets one after the other. Here I forgot to mention that Manas Putras, being sattvic, they used to worship worship the cosmic deities Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, or the divine goddess through uh, fire worship, meaning they used to perform homa or havans, the Manas Putras. And the Sattvic children of these Manas Putras continued the same fire worship rituals, which are generally performed by rishis and sages. Yeah, I think that's it.